Back to the study here from Schwab, Ryan and Lawrence. It says where most retirees get their income from. And I was a little taken aback by this. They've got 7 pieces here, and I thought real estate would be a lot further up this list, but it's actually dead last. Number 1 was the 401k coming in at 40%. Does that surprise you? I mean, and is that a good option? Is that a good way to get income in retirement? Just picking at your 401k, hoping, the tariffs don't sink the market, hoping inflation doesn't drive up expenses, so on and so forth.
No, so it's not surprising, and it's pretty common because, if you think about it, when you're working during your working years, most of the assets, for the most people, you're saving, you're not thinking about it, you're just getting those deductions from your paycheck, and they're going into that 401k, and you're building up that nest egg over, your entire working life. So it's not surprising that, that's the number one spot that, when you need retirement income, that's what you're pulling from, right? Mm-hmm. But what we want to look to do is, how are we efficiently pulling money from our retirement sources of income, right? From the assets we've saved up. How are we planning that out? How are we setting up the proper buckets for retirement planning and income planning? Because as we've kind of referenced to, there is a lot of volatility in the market right now, and we're seeing markets go up and we're seeing markets go down, and that can have a lot of stress on the individual and where to pull those the income they need in retirement. So part of our process when we're meeting with people that call into the radio is we want to figure out what are your needs in retirement. That's kind of the foundation or kind of the starting point for our philosophy in retirement planning is, how do we create the income you need in retirement so you can live the life you want to live in retirement and enjoy retirement. So what's that income goal, first of all? And then we have to figure out, what are the sources that you have coming in? For most people, that's, we know you're going to have Social Security, right? That's number one. But then you might have some rental income, you might have a pension, but if we're just talking about you have Social Security, where else are you getting that income from? Where are you pulling that from? And that's from normally the portfolio, what you've saved up in retirement. So what we want to look at then is how do we efficiently get that money to you? And we want to set up, again, those buckets of money so that we're not affecting the overall portfolio. And one of the main ways we can do that, there's actually a few ways we can do that. We can use the overall market, right? So we can use some dividend producing portfolios, and that can generate income for you, that income needs you have in retirement. But with that it's tied to the market. So that is subject to market fluctuation. But one of the best ways to do that is kind of buying your own pension, right? Buying a private pension, and we use a fixed income annuity to do that. And the goal of that is to use the least amount of your overall portfolio possible to generate that income that you need in retirement. That way we know that regardless of what happens in the market, you're going to have that income. You're going to have a steady paycheck coming in during retirement for the rest of your life, regardless if the market goes up, market goes down. It doesn't matter. You know that your lifestyle is not going to change because we have that income set up for you. And then with the rest of the balance in your portfolio, that other bucket, again, that's for the extras. That's for going on the big trips, the vacations, if emergency comes up and you need a new roof on the house, that's where that income or that money comes from, is you pull that from those portfolios. But again, you're not affected by the market or what's happening because we've secured that income for you, and you've bought your private pension. You're going to have a steady paycheck coming in for the rest of your life from that other source of income, that other bucket of money that we set aside to generate the income need for you.
Ryan and Lawrence, you guys mentioned annuities as a form of income. And by the way, let me go through this list here real quick from Schwab as the way most retirees get their income. 401ks is number one, Social Security number two, third, 15% was savings and investments. Pensions coming in at number 4. Number 5, part-time work. We don't want to do that in retirement, man. I don't want to work anymore. 6 is annuities and insurance. And then finally on this list was real estate. But I want to go back to the annuities that you mentioned, because right there, people are going to be like, no, I don't want annuities. You say the A word, that's a 4-letter word in my book. I don't want to have anything to do with that. Are they missing something if they come in with that mentality?
So, man, I think that unfortunately annuities have gotten a bad rap because, for years and years and years, they were sold by insurance salespeople who are, kind of the the slimy used car dealer, of the investment world. And, if you're an insurance agent, not all of them are like that, but, one bad apple ruins it for everybody type.
They get a bad rap.
So they've really gotten a bad rap. And like Lawrence said, they really are, a personal pension. It is a way to take all of the risk of making sure that my money is going to outlive me in retirement, and taking it off of yourself, taking it off of your financial advisor, and putting it onto the insurance company and letting them take on all the risk. Because what they're saying is, in exchange for, X amount of dollars, we're going to guarantee to pay you $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $10,000 a month, whatever the number is. We're going to guarantee to pay you that income stream as long as you're alive. And if you do it the right way, as long as you're alive, and as long as your spouse is alive. Now, I know there are some insurance agents out there. There are some financial advisors out there, and I'm using quotation marks because they call themselves financial advisors, but all they do is sell annuities. And, for better or worse, these vehicles are out there. And, some of these people out there really try to put as much money as, legally possible into these vehicles, as much money as an insurance company will let you put in, 50%, 60%, 70% of your retirement nest egg into these vehicles. And that's where the bad rap comes from, because annuities are, there's strings attached. Once you put the money in there, it's in there for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. You want to put in the least amount of money to accomplish the goal. If your goal is that I need $3,250 a month for retirement 5 years from now, well, there is a very simple calculation that we do that says, okay, you need to put in $325,682. That's a made up number, but it really is that specific. And, people ask me when we're talking about this, and, we're looking at the annuity route, they're like, oh, well, that makes sense. Should I put any more money into that? Because it really seems great. I said, well, yes, it does seem great, but the only goal that we have is to generate $3,250 a month. The only reason we want to put any more money into that is if you needed more income. What we are trying to do, like Lawrence said, is bifurcate your assets. Take money and set it aside for income, so that no matter what happens in the market, I have the income that I need. And an annuity is one of those tools that we can use to do that. That way, everything else, the money we have for emergencies and extras, that money can be as aggressive as you want it to be or as conservative as you want it to be. Because remember, no matter what happens, I have the income I need. Stock market goes up 20%, I have the income I need. Stock market drops 20%, I have the income I need. Everything else, if the stock market's up 20%, maybe I'm up 20% with the market. The stock market's down 20%. Well, hopefully I'm not down less than that, but it doesn't have an impact. And most importantly, the income money, I can't touch, because every single month, as long as I leave it the way it is, it pays me that $3,250. If I need 10 grand this month because, I need to buy a car or an HVAC unit, or I need 20 grand because I want to take the kids on the Disney cruise, I have all this other money over here that's liquid and available to use it. And in our opinion, this truly is the way to approach income planning and retirement, is making sure that you have two buckets of money. One bucket that says, no matter what happened, I have the income I need. And the other bucket that says, here's my extra money, here's my risk money.
Have you guys ever done the Pepsi challenge? Remember that Pepsi challenge back in the 80s, where you go over what what an annuity can do for you? Not saying that they're the right tool for everyone, but going over the benefits of this particular individual in their particular situation, given the fact that it could be the right thing for them. Don't call it an annuity. And would that change, the thinking of automatically, thinking that an annuity is going to be bad for you?
Well, yes, it may, but really, kind of the approach to what we do, because at Prostatis here, we are fiduciaries, is I'm going to show you, here's what you said you wanted. You said you wanted to have, 10 grand a month. Well, here's the money you have coming in from your pension. Here's the money you have coming in from your Social Security. Here's how much money you have in your 401k and all your other investment accounts. Here are 3 or 4 different ways that we can create that extra income that you need, because with your Social Security and pension, you have 6 grand a month coming in, so we need an extra 4.
Mhm.
Well, we can do option one. Here are the pros and cons to option one, and this will get you $4,000 a month. And of your nest egg, here's how much it's going to cost. Same thing for option B, same thing for option C, same thing for option D. That way, you know, here are all the investment options available to you. It's like going to play golf. You can go play golf on an 18-hole golf course, and you can take a driver, a 5-iron, a pitching wedge, and a putter. You just go out there with 4 tools. Yes, you can play golf. It might take you a lot longer time. You're going to have a lot of strokes to do it, but you can accomplish the goal. Or do you want to be like Mike? You go to the golf course, you have every single club that they can possibly make.
He does do that.
Bag. Yeah, he's got every single thing. Mike, I don't even know that club existed. But do you want to approach retirement with this massive, massive golf bag full of clubs for every possible scenario that could happen? Or do you want to approach retirement with those 4 clubs and say, man, I really hope I need to hit one of these 4 shots in retirement, and that's it. That really is the difference of working with true fiduciary financial planners like Lawrence, myself, Mike, Catherine, Sam, and my team here at Prostatis. But you're not going to find out about all the cool golf clubs we have unless you pick up the phone and give us a call at 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040, or visit us on the web at thesavvyinvestorradio.com and schedule your appointment right there online.